What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Heavyweight Nation podcast. And today we are joined by 2023 All-American, all the way from Lincoln, Nebraska, Brock Hardy. Brock, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I'm great to be here.
Awesome, man. Awesome to have you, Brock. And quick word, we just released our new donut shop merch line last night. Last night we had a super late. We dropped some really cool pieces, some Heavyweight Nation merch. We decided to kind of go out on our own and make some cool designs out for you guys. So that'll all be linked down in the description. And if you want to shop with us, go for it. If not, we thank you for listening anyway. So, Brock, awesome to have you on the podcast. Somebody that we saw this year at Nationals really had just an amazing year this year of wrestling in general, dual meet season and postseason. So talk a little bit about what this season was like for you and kind of coming back to the sport.
Yeah, man. Like I said, this was a comeback year for sure. I disappeared off people's radar for a really long time. Longer than I would have liked. And so this year was just kind of like a statement that I'm back a little bit. I'm not at full form. I could always get better, but it was a good year to, get some wins, have some fun, and kind of be a staple at the weight.
Yeah. So we're gonna throw it back all the way to high school and kind of talk a little bit about what got you into the sport of wrestling. Was there somebody in your life that really influenced you, and kind of start where it all began?
Yeah, so I actually started wrestling when I was like 4 years old. My whole family's wrestlers, all of them, all my cousins. I live on a dairy farm, and like all my cousins, my uncles, we all work on this dairy farm, and they all wrestled. I'm the youngest of all of them. They were all state champs, and so that was just kind of like I was just doing the thing, that was just what my family did.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't realize it's like a lot of family aspects of wrestling. You have these huge generational talents of your uncles and your dad and all that kind of stuff. So, were you somebody that was really like a standout immediately when you got to like youth wrestling?
I mean, there was a point like when I was like 8 or 9 that I started like being really, really like pretty dominant for that age, and then, you know, I definitely was pretty good going through junior high, and I think that like a lot of people saw that I was gonna be pretty good. Um, so yeah, I mean, I felt like it came pretty early to me. I was blessed with that.
Yeah.
And just kind of walk us through like your high school career and how you ended up at Nebraska.
Yeah, so you know, Utah wrestling's a lot different than where you guys come from in PA. You guys have what, 3 divisions?
Cool.
Two. I wish we had that. In Utah, we have 5 divisions, and my senior year there's 6. And so I won 4 state titles, but like it's a big accomplishment to me, but at the same time, like it's not quite what being a 4-timer in another state is. But most of like the recruitment didn't come from what I did in the state. It was when I went to Fargo. I usually did pretty well at Fargo. I think I was 3-time finalist, 1-time runner or 1-time champ, All-American 2 of the other years. And then like Iowa, went to like the junior duels and stuff like that. So I got recruited pretty well. While I was getting recruited, I'd tell people, I'm a Mormon. I'm gonna serve a mission, and then they would be like, "Okay, we'll call you back," and then never call me back again. So I was like, "Okay." So it came down to like a couple different schools when it all came down to it. But Nebraska ended up just being the one that they were really accepting and really understanding about my mission and about my faith. And then I just felt like it was the right place to be. It's kind of close to where I'm from. I mean, there's nothing close to Utah outside of Utah Valley, Wyoming, but like Big Ten wise is the closest thing there is to Utah. So it just felt like the right decision.
So obviously, like you said, you had a little bit of a different start to your career. You kind of get reached out by these coaches, being a 4-time state champ and having, a lot of national recognition as well. And, it's sad to see that a lot of, I'm sure some really good schools, kind of pushed you aside just because you wanted to go and, and do your part and serve in a mission. So talk a little bit about your mission, man. Talk a little bit about what you did and where you went and kind of why you kind of disappeared off the radar for a lot of people for a couple of years.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm Mormon. Mormon's it's like a slang term, but church member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but that's a really long name. So just LDS, whatever. we're not obligated. A lot of people think it's obligated, but it's just kind of like a choice that we make when we turn 18 or 19 to serve a mission. And what that entails is you sign like almost like a, what would you call it? Like when you felt like this is about me sort of thing, like your age, where you're from, all this stuff. You fill out like one of those, you send it to the head of the church and they all pray about it. And they're like, where do you think they should go? And it can be random. So I sent my papers in, had no idea where I was going to go.
Now, could you go to other places in the United States, or is it usually out of the country?
No, so my brother served in Houston, Texas. We actually have a kid on the team here at Nebraska. He served in Chicago. My dad served in Europe, and then I got called to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And yeah, it's like they call you. I had a set date to report, which was June 28th, I think, or 27th. I go to like a training center on that day, have 6 weeks of learning the language. I didn't learn anything. I learned how to say hello, how are you? That's about it. Learned how to do that stuff for about 6 weeks, and then get sent to Rio and live with, other missionaries. And we just, those guys that walk around knocking on doors and trying to talk to everybody and are kind of annoying. That was me for 2 years, but in Brazil. And so, it was 2 years. I didn't really get to train. I didn't train wrestling one time while I was in Brazil. And, only had one day off, and that day off, we couldn't like go to the beach and stuff. We would go on hikes and stuff, but we weren't supposed to go to the beach. And so wasn't a 2 year vacation. It was like a 2 year of, a lot of dedication to something that it wasn't, wrestling. It wasn't dedication to like school or something like that. It was dedication to something wasn't my own priority,
So what was that like, doing that for 2 years and then kind of coming back to not just, wrestling, but coming back to the United States after 2 long years of being away and in Rio, which, some parts of Rio are, I'm sure, super beautiful and super nice, and other parts are, I'm sure, not so beautiful and not so super nice. Yeah. So talk a little bit about what it was like coming back to the United States and coming back to not just that, but coming back to the sport of wrestling.
Yeah, so I came back to the States during COVID. So I technically didn't serve a full 2 years. Technically, I didn't serve my full time, but I was 1 month away, 1 month and a half away from being like my, when I was supposed to be sent home. Came home because of COVID, got put in a 2-week quarantine as soon as I got home. It was like when everyone was like really serious. So I like stayed in the basement, just played video games, got caught up on Red Dead Redemption when I got home. I came back and there was snow, which in Rio, there's never snow. It never even gets below, 60 degrees in Rio. And there was just like a lot of things, that were just super weird. There was a lot of foods that I didn't have for 2 years. There was a lot of, like cultural moments that you don't think about. I didn't have a dryer for 2 years. That was kind of a weird thing. Didn't have a dishwasher or anything like that. So that there was just like a lot of weird things like that. But for the most part, I will say that Rio is it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Like when I think of Brazil, I think of a hut and or like what I thought of Brazil, like a hut in the jungle. But like Rio is fairly nice. Come back, immediately try to start training and wrestling once that 2-week quarantine ends. My dad talked to the high school coach, got the high school coach to bring out wrestling mats to one of our barns. And I was just anyone that I could find. I was wrestling with my cousins who were 100 pounds bigger than me, anyone to just start like getting back into it. And it was, a lot leaves you in 2 years. I'm sure you guys, you've taken months off, and it's been like you come back and for a second, you're like, my feet don't work right anymore. Like my hands, like the muscle memory is gone. So 2 years, it was like there was nothing left. It was really hard to really learn how to wrestle again. And then I was fat. That didn't help.
Yeah, just coming back and cutting weight, I'm sure.
Yeah, well,
you haven't cut weight in 2 years.
No, I had not. I had not cut weight. I hadn't thought about my weight. There were times in Brazil that I'd be eating something that I shouldn't have. And I was sitting there eating it, and all of a sudden I'd be like, dang, I'm gonna have to make weight when I get home. And I'm like, should I stop eating this?
Nah.
Nah.
Finish it off. Now, was there ever a part, in your mind where you thought you would never wrestle again? where you would kind of just fade away and it would never, you'd go work on the farm and that would be it. You'd never, wouldn't go to Nebraska, wouldn't go to college, and it was just, you would just kind of just fade away.
There's been a lot of thoughts of that. While I was on my mission, once I got home, once I was at Nebraska, of there's been a lot of really good wrestlers that went and served missions that came back and couldn't do it again, or couldn't knack it, and it's there's some things that you think that it'd be hard because of the the physical side of it, of wrestling, like, oh, you haven't wrestled for 2 years, it's hard on your body. It is, but like, that wasn't the part that was the hardest. The part that was the hardest was like, as a wrestler, you have a mindset of, I'm better than that person that I'm wrestling. I am going to, dominate, and I'm going to win. And I just spent 2 years trying to be the nicest person in the world. And I get back and it's like, my confidence isn't there. I don't have the same like competitive like edge, if that makes sense. And then on top of that, like, even to this day, I have this problem of like giving people the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, he is pretty good, and he, he's worked hard too. I became too empathetic to be a good wrestler, which is really weird to say out loud. But like, you kind of have to be, you kind of have to have a little spark. You got to be a little selfish when you're going to be really good at something.
Yeah, and I think definitely that's something that, a lot of people, I'm sure, probably thought a little bit about, and were like, people I'm sure who watched you through your recruiting process and through your high school career, they probably were like, where's Brock Hardy? I'm sure a lot of fans and the wrestling community kind of forgot about you for a little bit, and in kind of worse terms, I'm sure. So coming back, this season was your big comeback year. A lot of people say your breakout year. And what was that like? What was that like, being able to go to nationals and, go out to Tulsa and get your hand raised and be able to get on that podium?
It was like, I'm living the dream. I think I had an Instagram post just barely that I just said, like, I want you guys to know, I want people to know that like what is going on right now isn't lost on me. Like, I'm not thinking that I'm above anyone else. Right now, I am so grateful for even just this 1 year of wrestling. If my career ended right now, I am so grateful for the time that I had. I got to wrestle at nationals, which, that alone, being an NCAA qualifier is really huge. Being able to be in that arena, it's ginormous. Being able to be an All-American was incredible, and having the health, I was able to stay healthy for most of the season. That was, I'm so grateful for that. This season was just, it was so fun and so great, and just all I can express really is gratitude, and that it was fun. It was so fun. Wrestling is so fun. Win or lose, it is so fun. It's funner when you win, but it's really fun even when you lose.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure coming back, you were just excited to get back into it and excited to have that fun again. And there's no greater feeling than winning a match in wrestling. You get your hand raised. It's not a team that did it. Like, if you're in a tournament, like, that's all on you. It's not a team you can rely on. It's something you did. And I'm sure having that gratification really made you fall back in love with it if you weren't still in love with it before.
No, yeah, for sure. That's something that's funny is that, so I went on that 2 year mission, and then COVID year happened. I only got 8 matches during COVID year. I wrestled, the first 4 matches at 149, and then Ridge took over. So I was just kind of wrestling like the backup matches. So I got like 8 matches that year. The next year I break my hand and miss the first half of the season. And then the second half of the season, I kept trying to go to opens, and they were getting canceled left and right. Like, it was insane. So I got 5 matches. I got to go to 1 open as a redshirt freshman. And then because of getting married, I missed U23s. So it just kind of like kept adding up that I just kept missing time to wrestle. And Tervel was just like, so do you hate wrestling? Like, are you ever going to wrestle? And I'm like, I love it. It's just not adding up. So they, coming back this season, what was the first thing we did? I went 1-2 first, right off the bat. Yeah, that was rough. Went 1-2, but then went and wrestled like an open tournament, got some confidence back. And then after that, that, like you said, that feeling of winning, you just, it's addicting.
Yeah, no doubt, absolutely. And I mean, congratulations on the marriage, of course.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and that was kind of something we talked to Silas Allred about a little bit because he as well is, you're a Nebraska teammate and is also married. So what was that kind of like for you, that decision, coming back from a mission and deciding to get married, while you're very young and in college still?
Yeah, so that's something that's very common. It's not it's kind of weird that we had three guys on the team married this year, which I feel
Hmm.
like is kind of uncommon. And Peyton Robb might as well be married. He's been his girlfriend. I think they've been dating for 7 years now. So it was kind of odd
Yeah,
that our
and
whole
just
kind of
quick
like
on
that.
that, shout out to Peyton Robb. I have you talked to him? How's he doing?
Yeah, I saw him yesterday. He's doing really good. He's in the recovery process, but everything that could have gone horrible didn't happen. You know, he's a he's safe now, and now all he needs is rehab, and the skin graft and stuff like that.
So good. That's good to hear from one of his teammates that, he's doing well.
Yeah, no, he's doing good, and he's been really optimistic. I think he's
Crazy situation for him, man. Crazy. That was, like I said, we were mid filming a video when like it all got like posted online, and like we immediately stopped what we were doing. We were like,
yeah
holy crap, like this is like something like serious. Like,
yeah. So they posted like everything happened. So I'm pretty close with Peyton. Our my wife, his girlfriend, are like really really close, and so like I was kind of keeping updated on the situation. He got past the worst part. Like there was a
mhm.
point in time that it was looking really scary, and then me and my wife were going to Hawaii, and as we're like in the airport, everyone starts posting about it, and I'm like, has it gotten worse? Like what
Yeah.
happened? Like is
Like
everything
I'm
okay?
sure for you in that moment, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Like,
Yeah, I was
yeah,
like, last I heard he was doing better. Like is everything
yeah,
okay? And
yeah.
then, but yeah, it was kind of funny that they posted it, as late as they did. I think they wanted to make sure, like, I think that Peyton wanted to be the person to kind of come out and say, like, I'm, I'm going through this. He had to kind of confirm it, but yeah,
And let me just say the outreach by the wrestling community,
huge.
insane, insane. And I think it really showed a lot of people that we are strong. We are a strong, tight knit individual community here. And he was getting support from people people that have lost to him, people that have wrestled against Nebraska, people that have like I said, people that have beaten him, people that he's lost to, families from tons of different groups and teams and everything like that. And it was crazy to see the outreach that he had, and it was
Yeah.
awesome to see the support for Peyton.
I mean, yeah, it was incredible. And I think that's something that I try to carry is like nothing in wrestling is personal.
No,
Like,
I think we see it with you a lot. We see a lot of smiles on your face this year. I think we
yeah,
saw a ton of smiling during your wrestling matches.
yeah. No, I mean wrestling's fun, and then on top of that, like it's not a personal thing. Like I'm not mad at the other dude. We're not fighting because we hate each other. We're just good at fighting, so we do it for sport, right? And so like, why do we got to take this so personal?
I
Me
agree.
and Real Woods had a couple matches, but like every single time after the match, like people are like mad at him because he beat me, and I'm like, he's he's supposed to beat me. We got put out on the mat, like that's what he's supposed to do. We fight each other, but it's for fun. I'm gonna go back. I got to make sure we talk about my marriage because if not, I
Oh
don't want my wife
yes.
to be mad at me. I can't.
In
Yes,
trouble.
yes. Go
I
back,
don't want to get in
go
trouble.
back to your marriage. So what was the like I said, what was the decision to get married?
Yeah. So most Mormons get married young, and a lot of it's just kind of like based on like how our culture is, how we pattern our lives, and um, you know, since I've been home from my mission, I was dating always, to find, my wife, if that makes sense. Like every time I would go on a date with a girl, I was looking at her going, it wasn't like I was just dating to have fun. There was fun in dating, but like at the same time, I was like, what do I like? I want to find a companion. I want to find someone that's gonna be my best friend for the rest of my life.
Someone that's
Um,
right for you.
yeah. When I started talking to Courtney, I actually knew Courtney my whole life, but it just finally like worked out that we were dating, and it didn't take very long. We just decided that we both agreed. We both had the same mindset. We both were looking for a companion, and so we decided to get married. And then she made the sacrifice of moving out here, switching to online school. And so she's a trooper. She's the best. And I am
And what was
extremely
that? You know, when we talked to Silas already, you know, he had this really, you know, kind of emotional statement that was like, you know, she wins with me and she loses with me. And you know, what was that kind of like to have her there, you know, for the wins and the losses? And obviously, I'm sure did she come out to Tulsa?
yeah. So she wants to go to everything. Um, and she, you know, she's that exact way. I mean, I'm being dead serious. She's more emotional about my wins and my losses than I am.
Mhm.
And I think she's more passionate too about what's going on than I am. You know, she was in the stands. She cried with Jade, with Silas's wife, numerous times this year over one of our losses or one of our wins. You know, she said she cried with, you know, with Jade after the Big Ten win, and it was just, you know, incredible. Um, but it's, you know, it's amazing. I had some hiccups this season, you know, whether it was sickness or whether it was a bad weight cut or whether it was just me wrestling like a doofus. Um, but you know, after the match, you get talked to by your teammates, you know, they pat you on the back, but it's awkward, right? It's awkward when, you know, you're supposed to be top 5 in the country and you lose to a redshirt freshman out of nowhere, right? And so it was awkward, but I remember, you know, coming home and just like having her to be there is like my rock, you know, it was just incredible, you know, and having her to always be around and, you know, she, you know, she cares, you know, and my coaches care, but my coaches, you know, only can do so much, but, you know, she's there for every bit of my emotional baggage that I'm carrying because of wrestling season.
Yeah, she's there for the good, she's there for the bad, and she's gonna stick with you. And it's something we talked about with Silas is just having that person you can count on no matter what kind of gives you almost another level of like security, even when you're out there on the mat.
No, for sure.
I think in a lot of times in college relationships, there's a lot of drama. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of, you know, you did this or you did that, and you know, a lot of hearsay and a lot of conversations that like that. And I think, you know, we said the same thing with Silas. When you get married, that's like you know, you're locked in. You're in for the ride. And you know, you kind of forget about that, you know, the childish, you know, 20-year-old hearsay and drama, and it's just, you know, you kind of become adults.
No, for sure. I mean, I don't worry about where I'm gonna go find my next, you know, date or where I'm gonna find my next girl. You know, I come home after practice, I do my homework, hang out with my wife. You know, every night we watch a show, we go to bed together, and then we wake up in the morning and it repeats. And there's no added stress to it. You know, we have our date nights, but we don't. I'm not. There's no drama. Only drama is if like, you know, just little petty things. But those
Yeah.
are
But
you have
I
more
think you
roommate.
see a lot of that time is like those little petty things kind of put a stop into some relationships. But I think when you're married, it's like those little petty things you guys argue, but at the end of the night, you're still gonna go to bed together and you're still gonna go to sleep and you're gonna wake up in the morning and it's gonna be, you
Yeah.
know, it happened.
But that's the thing is, you know, we believe that we're united together, and you know that uh you know, little petty things aren't going to stop us because we both have the same goals and we have the same, you know, like I said, we're companions. We're together.
Yeah. So shout out to your wife. Shout out to
Shout
Shout
her
out
out
to
to your
for
wife, yeah.
she's the best. She's actually not here. She's in Utah. So it's freaking yeah, sadness. But yeah, shout
yeah.
out to her. She's the best.
Well,
Shout out
yep,
to
shout
her,
out her,
man.
man.
Shout out her,
Definitely your
man.
support system.
Definitely. Shout out to all the support systems out there. Shout
That's
out to
for sure.
all of them. You know, it's awesome. It's awesome. You need it for the sport of wrestling. Sport of wrestling is not kind. It really isn't. It kicks you in the face while you're down, and it's, you know, it's a tough sport, man. But yeah, shout out to your support system. Shout out to Peyton Robb. You know, shout out to all the guys from Nebraska. Super Shield
Yeah.
dudes. We've only had good experiences with Nebraska guys, and it's been awesome, man. So talk about, you know, we mentioned Ridge Lovett. You know, you talked about how, you know, he you know, kind of took forward that weight class and, you know, your freshman year, and this year was his redshirt year. So what is the plans for next year's Nebraska lineup? Where do you see yourself, and with Ridge coming back, where do you think the lineup's going to go?
Yeah. So I mean, it's hard to say because last year it was hard to say, but you know, I think that, you know, if everything were to fall how it should, if everything were to go as I think how it's pictured in Mark Manning's mind, but then again, I can't speak for Mark Manning. Um, you know, I think that I stay at 41, Ridge goes 49, Peyton hopefully recovers, you know, and gets back and wrestles at 57. I think
That's a
that would be
lineup right there.
that's a lineup. That's a lineup.
And let me just say, we talked a little bit before we started about Lenny. Let me tell you, what was it like wrestling with that kid this year? Because he looked like he was a man on a mission.
Dude is freaking awesome. Lenny Pinto is, I think he's the most exciting person to watch in wrestling. Like,
I will say his clip of the Matt return against the Northwestern match. Let me tell you, I think a lot of people were like, "Wow, this kid he's something."
Well, if he's got a few things that he can, that he's going to clean up in this offseason. But, you'd have people that don't know anything about wrestling, and they're like, "Holy cow, how did he just do that?" And I have been watching wrestling my whole life. He does something that he goes like this. He goes like underhook. He throws it up, grabs this leg, and then with his right leg, he trips them, and he like literally just like runs people. It's like I don't even know how to explain it.
It's a freight train.
Yeah. It's incredible. Literally, that's the only way to describe it. You're like, how does he do that?
Yeah.
How does he have the power, the gumption to do something like that?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And on the most high level guys there is in the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember just the Arizona State duel meet. I was like, whoa, like what is going on? And then all of a sudden he comes out on top and gets a pin. Like, I think that was home. That was in Nebraska too. So I'm sure the fans for a second were like, oh man, he's about to get pinned. And then all of a sudden, here comes the hips.
I mean, that's the thing is just, he has the power in his hips and his body that he could, you can never count him out of any match ever because of that. It's an X factor that no one else has. It's just incredible. Not only is he an incredible wrestler, but Lenny is an incredible person. Being around him, sometimes he can get a little. He's a cutting weight or something pissed him off, but like 99% of the time, that dude is like the golden retriever energy. Just he brings it all the time.
I think we see that a lot. Like the promotional Nebraska videos, you always see him wrestling Coach Manning, and Manning's always smiling, and he's always smiling, and it's like you could just see that you guys have such an awesome bond there, all of you guys together as a group, and I think there's great success in the future of Nebraska wrestling. I really do. I think really great team this year, and I think next year you come back a little bit better and a little bit stronger. And I mean, how many years do you have left to compete?
Technically, I'm a freshman.
Are you going to take all those years?
I hope so. I hope I can do it. I hope I'm not too broken. Yeah. So I'm going to be an old man when I get done.
But you got to think, you got Lenny's young, you're young, Allred's young. Like,
so
holy man.
Us three were freshmen. Is there anyone else that's a freshman?
Because who'd you guys lose? We
lost Cronin, Labriola, heavyweight, between Davidson and Emerson. 33. Boo wrestled for a major part of the year, but so three of the guys that went to Big Tens, I think.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, just three guys.
Okay. Now I'm sure you guys have people in the pipeline ready to go to wrestle. Obviously Liam Cronin's a hit. He was a staple wrestler for the Nebraska lineup for years, and a great dude as well. Great wrestler. He's I'm sure you guys got people in the pipeline for heavyweight as well. And I'm sure, even younger team now. Put more young guys out there, and you guys have had really good success with the young guys. So,
Well, I think next year only Peyton would graduate if he wrestles.
And we hope we get to see him back on the mat next year. God willing, everything goes well with this, skin grafts and all that stuff. I think it'd be awesome to see him back on the mat, man. And crazy situation. We heard a lot of people had really bad skin infections from nationals, really bad.
Yeah, I don't know about that stuff that they were cleaning the mat with, or they weren't cleaning the mat. They were flashing the lights of the mat at.
Yeah, the UV lights and stuff.
The UV lights. My brother got a doctorate in biochemistry.
I was gonna say there was a guy that commented on the post that said he had a doctorate in biochemistry as well, and said that those lights got to sit on that for an hour, a long time.
Flashing doesn't do much, and I don't know if they mop them. I hope they do. But from what I heard, it was actually a lot of the stuff actually came from the warm-up mats. But if you notice, a lot of the guys that got the stuff were upper weights, and that's because the lower weights warm up out on the mats before the session starts, while the upper weights are warming up. So that's kind of it's kind of an interesting thing.
Interesting
Yeah.
take. Yeah, interesting outcome for
So let's hope next year they don't do the lights.
yeah,
Let's
Just
let's hope
stick to
that
like a
mop the
mop and a
back.
sprayer.
Yeah, just mop them. It's just
that was the classic, man. That's how it always was done. It
Yeah,
was always done with
the
sprayer
pump and
mop.
you
Yeah.
spray it down. Yeah.
If
Yeah,
it's
with the
if it's
backpack sprayer, yeah.
Mhm.
you know, don't if it's not broke, don't
Don't
fix it.
fix it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we talked a lot of wrestling, man. You had a really successful year this year, becoming an All-American, and that was awesome to see. And I want to talk a little bit about something else. Your
Okay.
Instagram might be you make videos about farming. And let me tell you, might be some of the funniest things I've watched, man. It is so funny, you talking about farming and then you cut and you talk in why can I not think of it? Is it Portuguese?
Portuguese.
Yeah, and you all this you talk you speak your English about it and then you re-record it in Portuguese. And I think it's just so cool to watch you, kind of a lot of people don't really realize that like we saw this year with Tanner Sloan wrestled at 197. There was a picture of him 2 days after Nationals shearing sheep. Went
Oh
back
my
home to the
gosh.
farm and he was shearing sheep. And I was
Oh
like,
my
that's a kid
gosh.
that's a national runner-up. A lot of people don't realize that the background that you guys have is the farming lifestyle. So talk
Yeah.
a little bit about farming and what that's done for you and how how much fun you have with that.
No, man. I mean, so I love farming. Like I said, I grew up on a dairy farm. All my cousins, I was the youngest. I got picked on a lot. And like, so I'm actually not going into farming in my education and that, but um, I want to move back out to the rural parts. I want to live on a farm of some kind. And farming to me was just so fun because not many people know anything about it, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so
I'm
like
gonna
that,
not gonna lie, I don't know nothing about farming, but
yeah. And so that's why like when I started making those videos, I was just like, this would be kind of cool. And I was like, also, I'm
it's
really
always
bored.
dark.
Yeah, it's always
It's so early in the morning that it's pitch black outside. And usually it's like pitch black, headlamp on. We could see your breath from it being cold outside. And it's like you just filming farming videos, man.
yeah. So I mean, I was just like, I just want to explain to people about this. And then I talked to a lot of people in Brazil. It's like in Brazil, I would just talk to people about everything, right? Obviously I was there to talk to them about Jesus, but like at the end of the day, I also cared about the person, and I wanted to talk to them, I want to get them to know them personally. And so we would talk about them and they would ask me questions about Brazil. And so I was like, I could explain to them right now too. And I'd be bored, right? You can only listen to so many podcasts, so much music out on the farm before you're like, okay, I got to entertain myself a new way. And that was my new way to entertain myself. I was like, I'm just going to like make like little like things of like explaining what's going on. So it's fun. And farming sucks, but it's also really fun. It's kind of like wrestling. It's very much like wrestling.
Yeah.
It's fun, but it doesn't always feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
man.
you said what your family owns a dairy farm?
Mm-hmm.
So what was that like growing up on a dairy farm? I'm sure you got some good workouts in, I'm sure, during the summers.
No, for sure. I mean, that's the thing that's funny is I told you all my cousins were wrestlers.
Mhm.
I'm the youngest of all my cousins that we all worked on this
I'm sure you
farm.
got beat up sometimes.
I got beat up my whole life. And so then they try to take credit for all my accomplishments on top of that. They're like,
Yeah, we made him
you
a good wrestler.
you wouldn't be who you are today if it weren't for us. That's fair. But growing up on the farm was amazing. I live out in the middle of nowhere, sort of. I live out in the middle of nowhere, but I'm like only like 15 minutes away from a small city.
How
30 minutes away from
where's your nearest Walmart?
in that city. It's about 15 minutes away.
That's
Right
not
in
that
city.
bad.
But
We've
also,
heard some crazy, some like hour, 2 hour rides to a Walmart situations.
Mhm.
yeah, so Utah's not too Iowa or South Dakota where it's
Mhm.
too far away. But I do live next to a Walmart distribution center. That's part of the reason why they built a giant center where all the trucks meet up. So like all the trucks to the west go there. But middle of nowhere, grew up doing so many different activities, outside of wrestling. I played football. I dirt biked, we Jeep, we snowmobile. So we just, because of like the farm, it was like, I had my family that was my siblings. Then I had my family that was, the farm. And then it was like a playground that
Yeah,
also
it's definitely awesome.
yeah.
And just those videos are definitely entertaining, like Derek said. But I am interested to know, is there anything you really miss from Brazil that you don't have now?
What's like the
Yes.
food snack, something that was so good over there that you didn't get that you can't get here in the States?
There's a lot of things I would take that I miss. We're talking food. I miss there's I'm gonna say three things. First off, I miss their acai. So you have acai here. Like it has like a shiz ton of bananas and a shiz ton of fruit, and they try to make it out to be like a healthy fruit. In Brazil, they're not trying to lie to you. They it's an ice cream sort of, but it's like really tastes very very good. And I had way too many of those. That's part of the reason why I had to go 49 that first year was because of them acai bowls.
Yeah.
Second thing, they cook meat really well, very
Mm-hmm.
well. It's crazy. I didn't know that before I left, and then I'm there, and they're like, "We have better meat than you," and I'm like, "Okay."
Especially being like a farm boy, like
Yeah, I'm kind of like,
I'm sure you've eaten your fair share of meat in your your high school growing up.
but they do. They have really good meat. It was really really good, and they do certain cuts that we don't do here, and then like the stuff that they add with it is like cooler than what we do here, and then, like the way that they do it is very communal. So it's like instead of like
Yeah,
I'll
like a
take the
Brazilian
steak,
steakhouse is like they walk
yeah,
around with
it's
all
like
the meat on the stick,
they
and yeah,
they cut it up and then they pass it around. And everyone's just sitting there grabbing your. I mean, causes they had a lot of COVID because of the way that they live, and that was
But they were tasting good food.
they were tasting good food. The third thing is they have what's called coxinhas. It's just any of their like like when you go to when you go to like a gas station and they have like taquitos and stuff like that.
Mhm.
They have their own version. They have like 5 or 6 different things that are just Brazilian that I used to have every day that I miss so much. Just like
every
little
day.
snack every day. Once again, why I wrestled 149. Um, and then lastly, this one's not food. I miss how like not that Brazilians are cooler than Americans. Everyone is cool, but the way that they're cool, they're just so open. You talk to someone, immediately know their life, immediately know the problems they're going through. They're very open people. They they touch you so much. They're sitting there, they're like talking, and they like tap you on the shoulder, touch your hand. They're kind of like wrestlers. You know how wrestlers like sitting like like you
Hmm.
grab wrists, get inside control, and then they on top of that, the way they talk and the words they use, like they sit and go like this. They're like, oh yeah, we're going over here, and then they have like their own sign language for really common things. It's like I'll use them all the time, and people are like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "It means something. I promise." And so there's just like a lot of like those little things that are like I miss just being able to be like instead of having to say like, "Hey, let's go," I just go, and they're like, "What does that mean?" And I'm like, "It means let's go."
That's
Yeah,
awesome, man.
definitely.
It's
And
super
I know
cool.
Brazil doesn't really have like wrestling per se, but they have combat sports like jujitsu and
Yeah,
a lot of combat sports are come from Brazil
yeah. No,
and
they're
are big in
they're
Brazil.
that's probably their number two sport. Obviously, dude, soccer.
Hmm.
Everyone in Brazil is good at soccer. Like, you know how like everyone in America can pick up a basketball, maybe get it near the net, get it in the net.
Or throw a
Like,
football, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like, I feel like everyone has like a little bit. There's only like maybe like 10% of the population that can't pick up a basketball and kind of know what's going on. That's how they are with soccer. Everyone can can kick around the football, can do their little tricks, and it's just
Did
incredible.
you learn some good soccer tricks while being over there?
I learned it too late. I'm already too uncoordinated with my feet. I tried. I tried so hard and I got better, but I was like a defender. Whenever we'd play soccer with people, I was the defender. I'd be the one that would just kick the ball away from the goal.
Oh,
You don't know how to control it
Yeah.
and like do all the tricks. You just know how to
Yeah.
get it out of there.
I'm like, just swing my leg, get it out of here. But then number two is sports, combat sports. And so I kept up on UFC stuff because of it, because they would sit and
oh, I'm
talk about
sure.
it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Anytime someone had cauliflower ear, I was like, I'm a wrestler. Like, hey, come talk to me. I don't have any. See these
Hmm.
ears? Somehow they're clean, but I couldn't just be like I was like, I trust me, I'm a wrestler. Let's
You're in
talk
Brazil
about.
just punching yourself in the air like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm like,
I got it.
I promise you. I'm like, feel my ears. There's a little bit. There's a little bit. Um, but yeah, they love jujitsu. They love taekwondo, Muay Thai. They're just, yeah, they're cool. Cool.
Yeah, I know you have a lot of wrestling left in you, but after that, is that something you're looking into? You know, some jujitsu or fighting or any of that?
I don't want to fight. I feel like I'm definitely too nice to be a UFC fighter, but I do want to help UFC fighters. Like my boy Pereira, who just got knocked out.
He did
Look,
get knocked out.
I can teach him. I can go and speak Portuguese with him and teach him how to wrestle correctly. Help him to wrestle in the UFC. Charles Oliveira, you can go help him instead of having to take guard, being able to, take the guy down. So maybe I won't be a UFC fighter one day, but I would love to like
Yeah,
be
like
a
a trainer.
UFC trainer.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just a translator. Maybe I'm just that dude that gets to translate all their their crap talking.
Well, we saw that with AJ Ferrari. He was with with Masvidal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and before him it was Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel was Masvidal's guy. That was his wrestling, who he trained wrestling with. So I mean, you're not far out there, man. I'm sure if you made a couple phone calls and got some connections, we might see you in somebody's camp next fight.
I had a guy. He's ex UFC, but while I was at the NCAA tournament, he was in my DM saying, "Hey, like, good luck. I see that you used to live in Brazil," and this was all in Portuguese. He's sitting there saying this. He's like, like if you ever around, in Rio or in Florida, come see me, and you can get into my gym. And I'm like, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
I don't remember the guy's name. Jukel is what he is on Instagram, but I don't know what his real name is.
Shout out to him. Shout out to that. Maybe we will see you trade into UFC guys one day, but I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Matthew. We'll kind of get into a little bit of a Q&A and kind of let Matthew go ahead and run off with it here.
Go ahead.
All right, new one that I actually just thought of today. Favorite walkout song?
I've had two. I prefer the first one, which was God's Gonna Cut You Down by Johnny Cash. This is kind of cool.
That's nice. No Brazilian songs in the future?
I've thought about it. I've really thought about it. I just
some people
would think I was weird. I keep wanting to do it. I haven't pulled the trigger.
No, we need some like hardcore Brazilian dance music. Just
hardcore Brazilian rap.
And they just see me like dancing as I'm going out there doing the samba and sitting there shaking my hips. Yeah, I could do that maybe.
You might throw them off a little bit.
I'm too nice. I can't do anything like that. I feel weird. I'm like, what does my opponent think about me?
You're doing psychological warfare on yourself.
I do for sure.
Awesome, man. Awesome. But
we know you're like a lighter weight, so 41 is a very speedy weight. You guys are moving around, scrambling. It's if you blink, you miss some things.
Yeah.
So I want to know your favorite neutral attack.
Probably an ankle pick, but not like it's kind of like Kale's pick, but little guys don't fall over like big guys do, and so I just like to hit it and then finish on the leg. So like an ankle pick, low single finish.
Ankle pick to get in, finish it off.
Nice, Kale's ankle pick is not very friendly. I once was out of camp at Penn State, and Anthony Cassar hit me with the Kale ankle pick, and I was on my back, and I got pinned in 5 seconds. So, the ankle pick's not very fun for us big boys.
No, it's not fun on small guys either. Obviously, I train with Kyler, right? The Sandersons are from Utah, and I trained with Kyler a lot. And Kyler has a variation that he does an ankle pick. He does like a knee. He like grabs the back of the knee and falls it into a high C. And he can hit the ankle pick if he wants to, but he likes the high C. But it's when the Sandersons do it, it hurts way worse for some reason.
It's just I think it's just because of
something about it. Yeah,
it's just because of the Sandersons, I think. Yeah, man. But so in your opinion, where do you think Utah wrestling ranks amongst the rest of the wrestling in the country?
Oh, that's really hard. I want to say I'm gonna go historically here because right now it's kind of a low point in Utah history. They were pretty good when I was there, but let's see. How many 4-time national champs does Pennsylvania have?
Oh, I think
national champs.
NCAA 0.
You about had one.
Awesome.
You about had one. Ramos, that kind of ended that. But you got a future. Starachi might. Utah has one.
Jersey doesn't have any either. Actually,
all right.
No, they don't because
New York has 2. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Utah. Can I go by per capita because we're small compared to population?
Yeah, I'd go
Let's
by
go.
per capita.
Hey, we're pretty small. Jersey's pretty small.
I would say Jersey per capita might be 1. Honestly, I'm being dead serious
No way.
because Pennsylvania's got so much. It's got 2 major.
Let's go.
They got JB.
Yeah,
We got JB.
They do have JB, but like we got Spencer Lee.
He's not
Yeah.
Jordan Burroughs.
Not
Not
Jordan Burroughs.
yet. He's not Jordan Burroughs yet. Jordan Burroughs wasn't Jordan Burroughs in college.
Hey, we
Jordan
got
Burroughs-
Caleb Anderson.
Unpopular
Caleb
opinion. Unpopular opinion. Jordan Burroughs was a mid-college wrestler. Unpopular opinion.
Wow. Don't appreciate.
Great Olympic wrestler, one of the best wrestlers ever, if not the best.
I mean, he
wrestler
was a
ever.
2-time national champ, Hodge Trophy winner. Maybe not mid is the right word. Maybe mid amongst the greats. It's like
Yes.
you're talking about
So,
greatest
for his growth. I mean, his growth
Yeah.
from where he was in college till now is unprecedented.
You try to stop that blast double.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd be gone.
Okay, I'm gonna say Utah per capita is like
14th.
let me think. So I would say New Jersey, Pennsylvania, or probably say Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Illinois,
Iowa,
Iowa,
Indiana.
Minnesota,
California,
California.
Ohio.
Ohio.
Oh, Ohio's probably up there a little earlier. Indiana, Michigan,
Illinois.
New York,
Wisconsin.
up there. I'm gonna say we're 14.
I said 14.
He did
I
say
said
14.
I said 14th, and Matt looked at me like I had 5 heads. I'm like, no, like 14th is not bad. 14th out of 50.
Hey, we took like second or third 3 years in a row at Fargo.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing pretty good. We had like a bunch of D1 commits right around that time, and now I don't know what's happened. It's
In
not there.
Utah,
But
there's
we had
maybe-
me, Taylor Lamont, Jaron Jensen, Wyatt Coling, Cole Moody, Owen Pence. That was all within like a 3-year span. That's kind of crazy.
That's true.
Yeah, and I mean you are home of Kale and Cody Sanderson. So
Kale, Cody, Kyler. Kyler was a 3-time All-American. Matt Brown, national champ. He's from Utah. Andrew Hogstrasser was a 3-time All-American, 1-time finalist.
wow. Utah slept on.
Okay.
Utah might be slept on a little bit. I'll give you
They're
that.
slept on for sure.
I'll give you that. But
These kids coming out of Jersey, though, I'm telling you, these next couple of years,
I'm
You know
not gonna lie. Jersey kids scare me.
these PA
Jersey
kids,
scare me.
come on.
East PA.
Lenny,
Hey, I would rather wrestle a Western or an Eastern PA kid than a Western PA kid.
really?
I'd rather wrestle like
Okay, so you'd rather wrestle Lenny Pinto over a kid from Western PA?
I'm saying, like, think about historically Western PA. Those
Spencer
are like
Lee, DeSanto, they're all Western PA guys.
That's what I'm saying. Or
District 11, we call that. That's
Rutherford?
District 11. Rutherford.
Rutherford.
No, Rutherford's east. He was east.
Is he East?
Yeah,
He's
Benton's in northeast.
Okay, then I'm wrong. I thought that he was like from the farm country. I thought that was West.
Oh no, there's farm country out here. Yeah.
Okay.
We're like
Okay.
we got a
see.
ton of like of like ton of farming and all that. It's in like Lancaster, which is like a big farming and like there's a large Mormon population in Lancaster too.
Technically, my church started there. That was like where it got big, was in New York,
oh, cool.
New York, PA. So yeah,
But-
I would say Utah's 13, 14.
Good spot for it. I agree.
Not every PA wrestler wrestles each other. Everyone in Jersey, there's one states. They're wrestling. They've
Why is
seen
it
each
called
other at
state?
some tournament.
It's called
I
state.
don't know. All right, states. Same thing.
Hey, yeah, no, Jersey, like I said, Jersey State champ.
California's the same way though. California's huge and they only have one state champ.
Yeah, but they're not
Sam
great.
Cronin was never a California state champ.
That happens all the time. Bonacorsi never won a PA state champ.
That's crazy.
He got second twice, and he lost to Vincenzo Joseph in the finals, and he lost to Ethan Smith from Ohio State in the finals.
Well, that's a pretty good people to lose to.
Mhm.
Suriano and National both won state titles. So
Who else?
Suriano's Jersey?
Mhm.
I knew that. He went to Rutgers for a while.
Yep.
Never mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
half of the Iowa team is all PA guys.
yeah, it's true.
Murin's from PA. All those guys are from PA. Lee DeSanto.
Jersey and PA are great, okay? Utah is top 15. That's all I care about.
14. I'll tell you, 14 is a good spot for Utah.
We'll put it at 14.
But we might have to push it to 15 and put Alaska above Utah.
Why?
Yo, I'm telling you, there's some crazy Alaskans. There's a
I,
four-time women's national champ. She's from Alaska.
okay, we're adding women's. Utah's gonna be up there soon because
Mhm.
Utah is growing with women's wrestling.
Mhm.
Huge. Sage Mortimer started a movement.
True.
Her and a couple. Haley Cox is another one. They're women's wrestling is huge in Utah.
PA's
Huge.
got big women's wrestling too.
I
Yeah.
believe it.
Yeah.
PA for
We
some reason
well we have
said,
I think like Northeast Coast has the most women's wrestling college teams. Like the
oh,
NCAA, it's huge here. Like our girls, like at the college we went to, they wrestled like tons of dual meets. Like I mean, like double digit dual meets, all these big tournaments.
oh
Like
my goodness.
yeah, they wrestled a ton of matches.
I'll say
And
Utah
like,
top 5 in women's wrestling
you
right
know,
now.
I'll agree with that.
I'll agree with
I
that.
will.
Yeah.
But like Princeton's like getting the girls team good
Oh, they
because
are.
like Chris Ayers' daughter wrestles and he's from Jersey. He's from my high school actually.
She's on the
You
men's
guys,
roster.
you guys just get so much more
Yeah.
wrestling opportunity. Do you know how close? Like how
Well,
many?
yeah, you a lot of the times like your family wrestled and like you just wrestled in PA. It was like a thing.
Mhm.
Like all four of my brothers wrestled. That's how I got into it. All
Well,
of
I'm
them
just saying,
wrestled. So it was just like I wrestle.
how many colleges are close to where you guys live? Like
Penn State,
give me a.
Ryder, Bucknell, Lehigh,
Oh my gosh, you just named like 4 teams in the top 30.
Pittsburgh, Pitt.
Rutgers, Princeton, Ryder.
Meanwhile, in a 3-hour span for me,
And that's just D1. We got really good
Yeah.
D2 teams here. Gannon always is top 10. East Stroudsburg, Kutztown, Millersville, Slippery, not Slippery Rock. Like just tons. There's tons of wrestling around here.
within a
D3, there's tons
within
of
a
D3 schools in PA too. Like you could wrestle in college if you want to in PA. Like
if there's
if you're decent, like not even like a star, you could go D3, D2 in PA.
well, that's what I'm saying. So that in Utah, there's only 5 in a 5-hour span from
Five
where I
hour,
live.
5 hour. I could get to all those schools I just named in like an hour tops.
That's what I'm saying. In a 5-hour span from where I live in Brigham City, you can get to one D1 school, and that is Utah Valley. You can get to maybe two JUCO schools, and that's it.
I didn't even talk about JUCO schools.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's what
forgot
I'm saying.
about those.
They have wrestling programs. They have wrestling programs. That's all. And there's not even that many universities in Utah. I think there's only like 8 or 9,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all. It's BYU, who's never going to get a wrestling program. Utah never get a wrestling program. Utah State, Weber State. They're all just too obsessed with football.
That's crazy.
Oh. So you'd be better off being a football player in Utah than a wrestler.
Yeah, yep. But I was blessed to be 5'7" and 145 pounds. So
Yeah, you didn't really have a choice, did you? That or
no.
baseball, maybe. Maybe you could have played baseball.
What were you walking around at in Brazil?
So I hit like 165, 170 in that area, and then I lost a lot of muscle. When I got home, I was like 158, 159. So I wasn't like too fat. Like I'm not too different, but my body composition has changed a
Yeah.
lot since I've been home.
That's just crazy to me that you like just did like a full 2 years and just like you really did disappear. Because I feel like we all knew like your recruitment was cool, like you're going to Nebraska, like you were at the time like a big time recruit, like you're coming in and like bright future, and then you kind of just disappear.
I know. It's
Was there like fans that like didn't even know who you were when you came like wrestled this year?
no for sure. A lot of people didn't know who I was, and then it's funny because like when I was around, I was at Big Tens last year because I was I was helping warm up the guys while I was redshirting. I would like see these guys that I knew from high school, and they would like act like I didn't exist. And then this year, when I got good again, when I made the comeback, they're like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "I saw you last year. Why'd you change the tune? What's up with
Yeah,
it?"
why'd you
Get outta
switch
here.
up? Yeah, why'd you switch up on me? I was
Yeah.
down last year, warming the
Yeah.
guys up. Now I'm placing at the tournament. And
Yeah.
you went 0-2 in the barbecue this year.
No, yeah, it was weird. So that's the thing. So people, I can foresee it. People are gonna say in the future, like, "Oh, he was 23 years old, 24 years old. He's gonna have an advantage." Look, I took 2 years completely off.
You did not compete. You did not.
That was not an advantage. That was
Have them go try that.
Yeah.
So Matt Brown's the only wrestler to ever go on a mission, come back, and win it. It's only happened once. There's been
You're number
there's been a good
two.
amount that have gone.
You could be the second one
That's
technically.
the plan. That's the plan.
Yeah.
I posted about it 7-8 years ago that I was like, Matt Brown was just first return missionary national champ. I'm next.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome, man. And bright future ahead of you all, man. And talk a little bit about, let's talk a little bit about Nebraska. Talk a little bit about what's your favorite restaurant around Nebraska.
Okay, there's two. There's two that I can think
Go
of.
for it. Go for it. Yeah, two.
Number one it's called the Oven. It's an Indian food, Indian cuisine. It's downtown in the Haymarket, kind of a cool little area. Best Indian food I've ever had. So good. And that sounds weird because I'm in Nebraska saying that Indian food is the best food. That's why I'm going to have a second one too. The second one would be HF Crave, which is just down the road from where I live. It's a burger joint that it's like steak burgers, but it's all farm to table. So it's like a farm made this restaurant, and everything that they, all the meat that they bring in is from their farm.
Awesome.
Super good burgers.
I'm sure it's good. Anytime you could get like meat, especially locally sourced, it's always so much better.
Oh my God.
Like my uncle, like my aunt, my uncle, it would be, his family owns a farm, and like the steaks are just like, you get a steak from a farm and it's like the size of a full plate. And it's just like my family gets it. Like we used to get a half a cow, and oh my God, like the steaks and stuff, so good.
That's something that I had to learn in college, is how to buy meat, because I didn't buy meat all growing up because I just came from the farm.
Yeah. I'm sure milk and all that stuff too. You never bought milk.
My mom's a city slicker, and so my mom had to buy it. We had the farm milk, and then we had the milk from my mom.
Your mom wouldn't drink the farm milk.
She didn't have the stomach for it. Because if you're gonna drink farm milk, you gotta have kind of grown up on it, or it really will upset your stomach.
Oh wow.
So yeah, sucks for her. But yeah, so yeah, I didn't ever buy milk, and then I never really bought meat. Like whenever we have a friends hang out, oh, let's have steaks tonight, I would bring just part of one of our cows.
And now you go to college and you're like, dude, $12 for a steak?
Literally, I'm like, how are they doing that?
$5 a pound for ground beef? What is
that?
Like I'm sure it's different. Now, did you just have cows on your farm growing up?
Yeah, so we just have dairy cattle. We didn't have any horses or anything like that.
No birds, no chickens.
No birds, no chickens, no pigs, no goats. Just
cows.
Dairy cows. Dairy cows don't make enough money for you to have anything else. It's a very
lucrative business.
It's not too lucrative, and it's very time consuming.
Beef
cattle, you just let them range,
and
then you kill them.
A lot of people don't know they're different cows.
Yeah,
dairy cows and beef cows.
Well, yeah, I forgot Matthew's mom works in the dairy industry.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, she works for a global dairy company.
Which company?
It's called Arla. They make a lot of cheese, and they're in Wisconsin doing stuff. They have the whole company's based out of Denmark. So it's cool. Danish company. But then also in high school, we had an agriculture class where we'd skin deer, learn about dairy farming, learn about grading meat, forestry, all that stuff. So
those are the best classes.
Honestly, not one test, not one piece of homework. What we did, got on a bus at 7 a.m. for 2 periods, went out into the woods and just learned about nature.
That is so cool. I can't believe they legally allow that.
Yeah, I know, right? Where was that when I was in high school?
2 periods a day, first and second. You just go out on a bus, you get some breakfast, and you walk on a river, fly fish, make our own fly fishing rods, skin a deer in school.
That is awesome. That is really cool.
In New Jersey? What? Yep. That sounds like some PA school stuff, man.
Sussex County, baby.
Go Jersey. Lua. My dog, she's being a goober. She just started barking at something out there.
It's all good, man.
We love a good dog. We love a good wrestlers' dogs. A lot of wrestlers got dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, our whole wrestling team has dogs. Want to meet her real quick?
Oh, she's adorable.
Oh, that's a good dog.
There's a cat somewhere around here.
Yeah, there's a cat somewhere in Matthew's house, but no, man. She
walks around, man.
Yeah,
She's like 6 months old. She just hangs out.
She's like, "Why are you in my apartment?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's napping somewhere in my house, either
One of the
downstairs in the
one of
living
the
room or
rooms, yeah,
one of the
one of the
rooms.
boys' rooms she's sleeping in, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of wrestlers got pets. We've been hearing a lot of snakes lately. A lot of
Yeah.
people have snakes. A lot of cats. A lot of cats. But good to see some dog people. I'm a big dog guy, not a big reptile or not a big cat guy either.
Some of the freshmen on our team came in and started buying lizards because you can't have a dog in the dorms. They're like, "Oh, we'll buy a lizard."
Mhm.
You don't have any connection with that thing. It's a reptile. It's cold blooded. It's literally like you are the person that feeds me.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
we have a lot of the upperclassmen on our team are big time dog people.
Yeah,
Liam Cohen,
I know Ridge and Labriola, they had a couple dogs. Yeah.
yeah, Ridge and Labriola, they both have one dog. Peyton has a big old Rottweiler.
Oh, I love a good Rottweiler.
Silas has a golden doodle. So we all got doggos, and I'm
Do they hang out with each other? Are they friendly to each other?
sometimes. I mean, so Lua and Greta, that's Peyton's dog. Me and Peyton were roommates last year before I got married. And so when she was a puppy, she grew up around Greta. And so like Greta's like her mom in a weird way.
Yeah.
So
Golden
hang out.
golden retriever raised by a Rottweiler. That's a
Well,
little
well,
different.
she was good for Peyton's dog because she is just she's a golden retriever. She just wants to play. She's just super nice and fluffy. And then that Rottweiler is very territorial and is like, "Rrr," and she's just like, "Stop it, let's play." So they were good for each
Stop
other.
it.
Awesome, man. Awesome conversations, man. Awesome. It's
Definitely.
we asked this question, we've asked this question about 150 odd times now, and it's interesting to hear what you have to say. So you could take 3 of your Nebraska Cornhusker teammates with you into the zombie apocalypse. Who would they be and why?
Do they have to be starters?
No, anybody on the roster.
Coaches?
No.
Okay, just the wrestlers. Okay, number 1, Brandon Van Tassel, 100%. So he wrestled a couple times. You probably know him.
Mm-hmm.
He's back up to Lenny. He's first off, he's built. It's like I don't mean to say this about another man. He's built exquisite. He's built
Exquisite.
magnificent. He is like he literally looks like he was cut from a boulder. And on top of that, he's a big time hunter, big time like survivalist kind of guy. Like anytime
That's
I need
always
help,
good to have.
yeah, he's number 1 for sure. Number 2, Lenny, for 2 reasons. Lenny is hilarious, and so he'll keep you laughing the whole entire time. But also, we've had a mutual discussion that Lenny looks like he would like have the best meat in case that stuff goes awry. He's literally built like a steer. Like he just has, just so much meat. The marbling on him would be incredible. And so Lenny,
First time we've ever had somebody plan a person for food. So I like that. I like it. A little different take.
yeah, he's I wouldn't resort to cannibalism, but if I had to, we're in the desert, we're dying. Okay. So definitely Lenny, Brandon. Oh, I gotta get somebody else that could help in some way.
You see, like usually they bring the heavyweight, and it's like, oh, just in case you eat him.
No, see, I don't want to. If I'm in the desert, I don't want to eat. I want a good, like a what's it called? Like a
Grade
wagyu.
A.
That's Lenny. Lenny is wagyu. Like it's just
That's gonna get clipped.
He's so muscle. You see his back muscle? It's just ginormous. But it's not like too ripped, too defined that it's like, oh, that meat's tough. Like that's gonna hurt my jaw. It's like, okay, so Lenny, Brandon, probably. Let me think. 97 Silas. Silas is kind of. He's. This is hard. This is harder than I thought it would be.
Come on, the married men got to stick together. Yeah.
Oh, that's who. I think I'm gonna go with. I'm probably gonna go with Jacob Van D.
Okay.
He's another mountain man, another guy who likes nature, another guy who likes to be out there. And once again, he's hilarious. So yeah, that's my three. That's the three people I'm doing it. And I think I'm gonna survive for a while. And then when one of us dies, preferably Lenny, we'll have a feast. And then yeah. I mean, probably
Uh,
we'll probably die first, and then they'll just be left with nothing to eat. We'll just have bones.
yeah, you go down first. I don't know if that's a good idea for, that's not a good outcome for them.
That's true.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that might
Yeah,
be the most in-depth and thought about one we've ever got the answer to, but I like it. I like the
I
idea.
do.
And there will be a clip posted on Heavyweight Nation of you calling Lenny Pinto Wagyu steak. Just be prepared for that to come out. It will be out there and it will be pretty funny. So
I hope Lenny's not mad. I think he knows. I think Coach Snyder's talked about it. Everyone's been like, Lenny's built like a Wagyu, you know.
Lenny's built like a good deer. Lenny,
Like
he's built like a big deer.
got that marbling, you know.
Oh man, awesome. But final question, this is just kind of close everything up and say something to the kids out there, man. The kids that want to become a future Cornhusker wrestler and the kids who look up to you.
Yeah. Let's say this. To the kids out there that are wrestling, having, getting into it, that want to aspire to have dreams, I think the number one thing they need to do is to have fun. Don't take it too seriously. At the end of the day, this sport is a game, and it's not going to last forever. Like I said, my career will come to an end. Even Jordan Burroughs' career is going to come to an end. I think the biggest thing that we can do while we're enjoying this sport is to have fun, and be kind to others, and just try to be better people, try to be better wrestlers. I think that's something I love the most about wrestling is, you can constantly get better, constantly learn new things, do new things, constant creativity. Then on top of that, you got to do that with people and, and share these, these moves. And that's just have fun wrestling, be kind, and, grow. That's what I would say.
Good
Well said.
words. Good words there from Brock. Just awesome experience, man. Awesome getting to know you and getting to learn a little about a little bit about your past and learn a little bit about your mission and your wife and everything like that. It's been awesome. I think the fans are really going to enjoy kind of getting a little bit of insight on you, and it's been a pleasure. And we look forward to it, man. We'll have you back every year. You keep performing to the level that you did, and you'll be back on every off season. We'll get to catch up with you and build the relationship. It'll be like I said, it'll be awesome to see you compete for 3 more years.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's been another episode of the Heavyweight Nation podcast. Thank everybody who's out there listening. We appreciate you. Have a good night.